Imagine this moment in stark, unforgettable detail. It's 2:37 a.m. on a remote, cracked farm road in rural Ohio, the kind of place where the nearest neighbor is 2 miles away and the nearest town feels like another world. No streetlights, no passing cars, no signs of human life for hours. Just endless rows of cornfields standing tall and silent under a vast, star-filled sky. You're driving home after a long, late shift, windows cracked to let in the cool night air, radio tuned low to a classic rock station that's starting to fade. Then you hear it. A deep, rhythmic thump-thump-thump. Helicopter rotors, but impossibly quiet, almost subliminal, vibrating more in your bones than in your ears. No navigation beacons flashing red and green. No search beams sweeping the ground like law enforcement or medical choppers do. No tail number visible. No corporate logo. Nothing. You slow the car, look up through the windshield, and there it is. A matte black, angular shape silhouetted against the stars, hovering motionless directly above you at maybe 200 feet. Completely silent except for that low, chest-deep throb. It hovers for a full minute, perhaps longer, as if studying you, your vehicle, your life. Then it tilts slightly, almost curiously, before gliding away horizontally, without acceleration, without sound, simply fading into the night sky like smoke dissolving. The next morning, everything is wrong. Your phone is completely wiped. All photos, call logs, texts, GPS history from that night erased. You have a 3.5-hour memory gap. The drive home that should have taken 35 minutes took over 4 hours, and you have no recollection of the interval. Your dog, usually fearless, refuses to go near the back field for 6 days straight, cowering and whining whenever you approach the door. And for 72 hours, a black SUV with tinted windows and no plates is parked at the very end of your long gravel driveway, engine off, windows up, no one visible inside. It disappears the moment you try to approach it with your own phone camera. This is not coincidence. This is not paranoia. This is the full-scale, undeniable resurgence of America's phantom black helicopters. Unmarked, silent, untraceable aircraft that appear over rural areas, working farms, remote forests, small towns, and even suburban outskirts with terrifying frequency in 2026. After a relatively quiet period in the early to mid-2020s, perhaps due to improved stealth technology, fewer witnesses willing to speak, or deliberate suppression, the sightings, encounters, and after effects have exploded exponentially since late 2024. In 2025, reports doubled. In 2026, they have tripled again. Drone footage now captures them hovering low over livestock pens. Farmers and ranchers report missing time, unexplained nosebleeds, electronics failures across entire properties. Witnesses who managed to record them on phones, trail cams, or drones are visited within 24 to 72 hours by a new generation of men in black, colder, more robotic, sometimes with features that don't quite look right, skin too smooth, eyes too reflective, speech patterns too precise. The black helicopters are not hiding anymore. They are watching, silently, relentlessly. And in 2026, they are closer, more numerous, and more brazen than at any point in history. Tonight, we undertake the most exhaustive, unflinching, and comprehensive exploration of this profoundly disturbing, deeply American, and highly controversial phenomenon ever attempted: the 2026 Phantom Black Helicopter Resurgence. We trace the full historical arc, from the classic 1970s cattle mutilation wave through the intense 1980s to 1990s Men in Black encounters, the relative quiet of the 2000s to early 2020s, and the dramatic re-emergence coinciding with the first major UAP congressional hearings of 2024 to 2025. We dissect in granular detail the explosion of 2026 evidence, viral drone videos, multi-angle eyewitness testimonies, farm security cam captures, electronic anomalies, physical after effects, and follow-up visits. We listen to raw, often terrified first-hand accounts from farmers, ranchers, hunters, long-haul truckers, rural residents, military veterans, and former law enforcement who have seen them up close, some multiple times. We connect every thread irrefutably to the ongoing UAP disclosure process, the persistent cattle mutilation resurgence, the evolution of Man in Black 2.0 encounters, clusters of missing time and memory loss, and the major competing theories, government/military UAP suppression operations, extraterrestrial monitoring of rural populations, interdimensional craft bleeding through thin places, black project reverse-engineered technology, or something far stranger that defies classification. And above all, we confront without flinching the single most terrifying question that keeps every credible witness silent for years, sometimes forever. What do they want? And why in 2026 are they suddenly appearing so much more frequently, hovering so much lower, and staying so much longer? The black helicopter phenomenon is as old as the modern UFO era itself, and perhaps older. The first major documented wave began in the early to mid-1970s, coinciding precisely with the largest outbreak of cattle mutilation reports in American history. Unmarked black helicopters were repeatedly seen hovering low over ranches and pastures in Colorado, New Mexico, Montana, Utah, and Nevada, often directly above freshly mutilated livestock. No tail numbers, no corporate or military markings, no navigation lights, only the low, unmistakable throb of rotors, and sometimes the glint of spotlights sweeping the ground. Witnesses who approached the craft on foot or horseback were often met by armed men in black tactical gear who ordered them away with calm, emotionless authority. Those who persisted reported threats, memory gaps, and in some cases physical symptoms, nosebleeds, headaches, disorientation that lasted days or weeks. The 1980s and 1990s brought the classic, archetypal Men in Black encounters, tightly linked to these helicopters. Individuals who photographed, filmed, or even sketched the craft were visited within hours or days by pale, unnaturally calm men in dark suits and sunglasses, men who demanded all evidence, issued veiled and sometimes overt threats, and often displayed knowledge of the witness's private life that they had no way of knowing. Many of these witnesses reported missing time, anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours following the visit. Electronics failed inexplicably. Nosebleeds and migraines became common. Pets refused to approach doors for days. And in the most extreme cases, witnesses simply stopped talking about what they saw forever. The phenomenon appeared to quiet in the 2000s and early 2020s, perhaps due to vastly improved stealth and cloaking technology, fewer people willing to come forward publicly, or deliberate suppression through surveillance and intimidation. Sightings continued, but at a lower volume, whispered about in private forums, shared anonymously, rarely with video. Then, late 2024, coinciding with the first major UAP congressional hearings, whistleblower testimony from David Grush, and the slow drip of official UAP disclosures, the helicopters returned. By the end of 2025, reports had doubled compared to the previous decade. In 2026, they have tripled again, and the intensity, duration, and brazenness of the encounters have escalated dramatically. Key patterns emerging from the 2026 resurgence based on hundreds of verified reports and video evidence. Appearance almost exclusively between midnight and 4 a.m., the traditional witching hours when visibility is lowest,
and witnesses are most isolated. Altitude, low, 50 to 300 feet, often hovering directly above homes, barns, livestock pens, or vehicles. Sound, near silent except for a deep, chest-vibrating throb, no conventional rotor whine or jet noise. Markings, none visible, matte black or extremely dark paint that absorbs light, no tail numbers, no corporate or logos, no lights, occasionally faint red or blue anti-collision that blink irregularly. Duration, 2 to 20 minutes of hovering, often stationary for long periods, as if scanning or observing. After effects on witnesses, missing time, 30 minutes to 6+ hours, severe electronics failure, phones, drones, security cams, vehicle electronics die simultaneously, nosebleeds, migraines, vibrant nightmares, lingering sense of being watched. Follow-up encounters, new type of men in black, colder, more robotic, sometimes with unnatural skin tone, speech cadence, eye reflections, or facial symmetry, arriving in black SUVs within 24 to 72 hours of the sighting, demanding silence, confiscating evidence, or simply observing from a distance. Drone and security cam evidence. Multiple 2026 videos clearly show black helicopters hovering over fields, then vanishing without acceleration, simply fading out or blinking out of existence mid-frame. Compelling 2026 witness accounts, raw, first-hand, often deeply shaken. Ohio farmer, anonymous, drone footage shared anonymously in early 2026. It hovered over my cattle pen for 8 minutes and 43 seconds. No sound, no lights, no markings. I launched my drone and filmed it. Next morning, all footage corrupted, just static. 3 hours and 17 minutes missing from my memory. Black SUV with tinted windows parked at my gate for 2 full days. No plates. It was gone when I finally walked up with my shotgun. Montana rancher, late 2026. Heard the low thump at 1:12 a.m. Looked out the window, black shape over the north pasture, maybe 150 feet up. It felt like it was scanning the herd. My dog screamed, literally screamed, and hid under the porch for 3 days. Phone dead. Memory gap of almost 4 hours. 2 nights later, 2 men in black suits knocked at 3 a.m. One said, "Forget what you saw. It's better for everyone." Their eyes, they didn't blink right. Pennsylvania trucker on rural Route 6, mid-2026. Driving at 2:45 a.m., heard thump above. Looked up, black helicopter, no lights, hovering right over my rig. Followed me for 12 miles. My CB radio filled with static, then voices, my name, my wife's name, then silence. Pulled over shaking. Checked dash cam, entire segment erased. Had nosebleed for a week. Haven't driven that route at night since.
The connections to other major phenomena are now overwhelming and impossible to dismiss. UAP disclosures, 2024 to 2025 congressional hearings, David Grush testimony, AARO reports. Multiple witnesses described craft with similar stealth, silence, transmedium capabilities, and low-altitude hovering. Black helicopters may be human reverse-engineered versions or deliberate cover for non-human craft operating in plain sight. Cattle mutilation resurgence. Classic 1970s cases were almost always accompanied by black helicopter sightings. 2026 sees a dramatic return in the Midwest, Southwest, and Great Plains. Precise surgical cuts, no blood, organs removed, often within hours of helicopter visits. Men in Black 2.0, colder, more robotic, sometimes with uncanny valley features, skin too smooth, eyes too reflective, speech too precise. 2026 reports describe them arriving in black SUVs within 24 to 72 hours of sightings, demanding silence, confiscating devices, or simply observing from a distance for days. Missing time clusters, often 1 to 6 hours, with physical symptoms, nosebleeds, headaches, and disorientation, mirroring classic abduction cases but tied directly to helicopter proximity. Major theories expanded and cross-referenced. Government or military UAP suppression operations. Black helicopters are classified DoD and intelligence assets monitoring UAP witnesses, suppressing evidence, and maintaining secrecy in rural areas where sightings are hardest to debunk. Extraterrestrial or non-human monitoring, craft or biological using advanced stealth to observe rural populations, livestock, and human activity, possibly studying biological systems or preparing for contact. Interdimensional bleeding, craft or entities slipping through thin places in reality, manifesting as black helicopters due to human perception filters or camouflage. Black Project reverse-engineered technology, human pilots or autonomous drones using recovered UAP-derived stealth and propulsion systems. Psychological operation or hybrid threat, deliberate deployment to induce fear, test public reaction, or create confusion around the true nature of UAP phenomena. In 2026, the resurgence shows no signs of abating. If anything, it is accelerating at an alarming rate. New drone footage emerges weekly, sometimes daily. Farmers install more security cameras and lose more footage to corruption. Witnesses who speak out publicly receive visits or simply disappear from social media and community life. The black helicopters are not hiding anymore. They are watching, silently, relentlessly, intelligently. And in 2026, they are closer, more numerous, and more brazen than at any point in documented history. The next time you hear that low thump in the night sky, stop, look up. If you see a black shape with no lights, no markings, no sound except that bone-deep throb, don't film it, don't follow it, don't speak about it, because they are listening, they are watching, they remember, and they do not forget.